Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. Thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all. As we continue throughout the night on the show, we're listening to the flagship show of Legacy Internet Radio. We're called Ain't No Half Stepping with Marcus J. It is the fourth Monday of the month, which means we are in the Diva Diaries segment with my sister, the dating pool diva.
That's my jam.
Yeah, you hear your jam. Hey, hey, hey.
Yay.
Hear your bass drop. Yeah. And then she does a little weird dance thing that she does. Yes, sir.
That really weirds you out, doesn't it?
Every time
That's why I do it.
Every time you do it, it completely destroys me and whatnot. But it's all good. So
yeah, that's my jam.
We got the Diva Diary. So for the brand new listeners on Stream Licensing and on legacyinternetradio.com and all of our other affiliates, tell them what the Diva Diaries is as you go into your first topic.
Okay, the Diva Diaries is a segment that we do here on Legacy Internet Radio every fourth Monday of the month. We talk about relationships, but sometimes we get a lot deeper than just surface relationship talk. We may talk about, religion or politics or racism, social issues. So it's not just about, relationships. We have a group, the Love Revolution. The Love Revolution has been around for 5 years now. We basically have different events in Richmond every quarter. At first it was a monthly thing, but we do it every quarter, every season, and we do the same thing in person. We fellowship with one another. We talk about love, dating, relationships, and like I said, it can get into all kinds of different topics. So, Marcus J., you've been there, on a constant, and I appreciate that. So, you can attest to how the Love Revolution forums have been in the past and, how much fun they have been.
I've always loved them. I've always enjoyed them. Honestly, the Love Revolution forums really was the basis for a lot of how we formulate what we do, not just in the Diva Diary segment, but on Ain't No Half Stepping with Marcus J. You know what I mean? Just the way we did it. We always had a plan. We always knew what we were going in to talk about. We had fun. We did games and stuff like that. And, we had, when we first started, we had, a lot more participation and people would come. And over time, it just kind of slowed down a little bit. And I think there's a place for it to continue.
Right.
And I think if we can invigorate, the listeners to this show and engage social media, if that was something that we ended up wanting to do, I think that we can do it because people like to talk, man. People like to talk about relationships and, it never got disrespectful. You know what I mean? The ladies were always respected and the fellas were always respectable.
Right.
And we always had fun. You know what I mean? And I think we've had singles and marrieds. I think we had a widow one time.
Right.
We've had young people in their 20s. We've had older,
in the 60s.
In the 60s, and it just was something that was really cool. And I think that I'm better for having been a part of it for all of that time.
Yeah, it's very important, too, for our community, especially for the black community.
Absolutely.
We have to communicate. That's the only way we're going to get our relationships back on track. So that was my whole purpose and mission for creating the Love Revolution, and doing the show segment as well, the Diva Diaries.
Yep. So, first up to bat, what are we talking about?
Okay, well, I have a hot topic here. And someone donated this topic to me. I don't know if that person wants to be identified, but
what did you ask them?
You want to be identified? Okay. This is the question. There has been a trend in relationships with men being more involved in taking care of children. Doing more of the domestic type of things while women work. What is you guys' opinion on this trend? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it something that we need to keep? Is it something we need to change? What is your opinions?
I'll go first.
Okay, yeah, you grab the mic. You got something to say.
My baby father took on that role without engaging, without asking. He just did. He took my kids to the dentist, the doctor, went on all field trips, was the dad at the PTA, all that. I was still there, I was not going to stop him, But I worked a lot. He also worked, but I worked more than him. Mm-hmm. He took care of the kids. Right now he can't. And he got 7 years. But that's beyond the point. But that was what he did.
Right.
And I thought it was great. I never felt like he was being feminized or anything. I just think that he really loved his kids, and the fact that he didn't have a father figure, that he really wanted to be there for their lives and not miss a thing.
Right.
So I experienced this, and it was great. I had a lot of free time.
Okay. All right. I'm going to restate the question for everyone out there. There has been a trend in relationships of men being more involved in taking care of children, doing the domestic things around the house, things like that, while women are more towards the career, working, businesses, things of that sort. So my question is, what is your opinion? Do you think that this is a good thing? Do you think we need to change it? What's your opinion?
I can't imagine how that could be a bad thing. And the fact that it's a topic is distressing to me, because you're just as much of a parent as she is. Mm-hmm. And the reality is, we know that there are traditional gender roles in society, in the world, in relationships. But I've personally never been okay with those traditional gender roles blending in to how you raise children. I think, to me, that's the one place where the parent is unisex with regards to the care of the child. Now, there's certain things you're only going to get from pops, and only certain things you're only going to get from moms. But if we talk about physical care of the children, that's crazy. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember when I was coming up, my mom, during a piece of my youth, had a job that was far away. And she was always the one that did all of the cooking and all of the, hugging on us and kissing on us and all of that kind of stuff. Well, when she was working far away, she worked, it was an hour one way. So guess what? Pop stepped up. Pops did what a man will do. And he took care of us in the way that she would have had she been there, because she wasn't able to be there for that period. It wasn't a long period. I don't remember if it was more than a year or two, but he cooked. That wasn't something that he normally did, but he did. You know what I'm saying? And he got us from school and did all of that kind of stuff. When my daughter was born, and this is a true story, when my daughter was born, I never wanted, like, when, because babies get up in the middle of the night, all that kind of stuff. I never wanted her mother to get up. It wasn't on some noble, I'm such a great, partner and all of that kind of stuff. Like, I felt the magnetic pull of my child in the middle of the night calling for comfort. And so I leapt out of the bed to go and give her the comfort. I'm not trying to boost myself up with regards to, oh, you're such a, a good partner. No. It was, oh, wow, my baby's awake. I can go play with my baby. It was that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm that dude who would spend his lunch hour, and she was an infant. So I would spend my lunch hour at the daycare. I'm that guy. Like, when they seen me coming, they knew that they was off duty for at least one of them babies for the next 45 minutes. You know what I mean? I put the little booties on, and I'm feeding her and changing her and doing all of that kind of stuff. And to this day, my baby and I are very, very close. I can't imagine. Like, it's maddening to me, Joe. Mm-hmm. Any man that doesn't do that.
That's right.
I can't imagine that.
That's right.
I watched my father. I watched my older brother who checked in earlier, Big Bro Jay, and of course Big Bro Joe here of Legacy Internet Radio. The three of them are my father figures with regards to how they modeled how to father.
Right.
Because I've been, obviously, my blood brother and my father are my role models. And Big Bro Joe, of course, we've been brothers for 20 years. My daughter's 13. I watched him raise his babies.
Right.
And I watched how he fathered. Mm-hmm. And those are the models. They men.
Right.
This is what men do.
That's right.
What you think, Joe?
Well, my opinion on it is this. My father actually raised me and my brother, and he's a single father. And watching that and coming up with that with my father, showing us how to be able to run a household by yourself as a single parent and raise 2 boys, you know, I thought that was incredible. And that's why I think he's my role model. That's my dad is my role model for me. So when I have my kids, I pattern myself like my father would how he raised us, because he showed us so much, you know, and it helped me a lot to deal with my kids. And now I think my rapport with my kids are a lot better because of the fact that my dad was single and he raised me and my brother, and he showed us it could be done. And he's a successful businessman.
I think society don't give enough credit to single fathers out there, because I know a lot of them who are raising their kids by themselves, and I know a lot of women who have skipped out on responsibility. I don't know why society don't show that side of life.
Right.
As much as, you know, single moms struggling, this, that, and the third. Like, it's a lot of statistics out there on single moms, but there are none really on single dads.
And black fathers is mainly the topic, is that they don't show a lot of emphasis on
At all.
black fathers that are taking care of their family, because some reason I don't think that's one the media wants to push out.
Yeah.
You know, I personally feel that the media is not going to.
Well, they're not going to
advertise
do.
it.
They're not going to do that because it doesn't fit the narrative.
Right.
The narrative being, you know, black men aren't good men, and you know, black men are angry, and black men
Criminals.
are pants sagging and skinny jeans and all of those
Yep.
not so positive things. And it's crazy that we even have this conversation, Diva. You just been bringing it like you wouldn't believe for the last few months, and doing an awesome job.
Thank you.
But the thing is, I don't know ratchet dudes. I'm just speaking to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I grew up in a very rough neighborhood in Jersey City, New Jersey, and the men that I know who came from that neighborhood that I've kept in contact with are good.
Right.
You know what I mean? Some of them moved away. Some of them are still there, but they good. They good. They in good shape. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it's the circle that you keep. I will receive that, but I know a lot of people, man. I've been doing radio for almost 6 years. I've been living in Richmond for 25, and I lived in New Jersey for 18. I mean, I know a lot of people, and the vast majority of the men that I know raise their children and are business owners, entrepreneurs. They do stuff.
Right.
And I'm talking about not just in Richmond and Jersey City. I got people in Baltimore and Atlanta, on the West Coast, that are friends of mine. So I don't understand the narrative. I really don't.
Right.
Again, the only thing that I can think of is the whole thing about the positive stuff that we put out, and people feed on the negative. That's what they want. You don't turn on the news in May and see commencement leading the news.
Right.
You got to hear about the domestic issue and the
Right.
murder-suicide and the bank robbery, you know, and that sort of thing. Ain't no hashtag on
Well, we
Marcus
ain't-
J. Go ahead, Shayna.
But we ain't heard nothing about them girls.
Yeah. And I mean, you're right. I mean, the girls. I mean, you're referring to the girls in D.C. I mean, yeah, we're gonna definitely talk about the fact that there are a lot of girls missing in D.C. The only thing that I will say about that is the number has been exaggerated. That's a fact. Social media blew it up, and you know, I don't really want to take away from this segment to get into that, but if you look at the statistics in DC of missing children, it's consistent with the number that it's always been. It was a meme that got sent out that went viral that kind of threw off the narrative and made it seem like there were more missing girls than there normally is. The problem is the missing number right now is disproportionately black. Right. So if we're having that discussion, then that's the discussion that we're having. But it's not more than there normally is. It's just more black girls than there normally is. That's where the problem is, and it's probably some sort of sex trafficking or something like that. But we'll talk more about that in the next segment. Joining us, of course, right now, we don't get to see him too much, but you're going to hear a whole lot more from him when he starts his own show in April. He is my brother, partner, and utility player, Mr. 3375. What's up, bro?
What's going on?
Hey, so you hear the question. We know what kind of father you are. The kind of father you are is the reason why you wasn't here at 7 o'clock tonight.
Exactly.
So let's talk about it. What you think?
Yeah, I think single fathers, like I have a homeboy. He has 2 daughters by 2 different women, and the court gave him custody of both of them.
Wow.
And that's rare.
That's not only rare,
Extremely rare.
That's insane.
And that's
Say it again, Shayna. Grab the mic and say it.
Can you repeat that one more
Those
time?
girls must ain't doing nothing. Y'all
and
need to
then
get
that- and
together
then that-
out here,
and
women.
then
What
that-
is going
and
on?
You got it from 2 different women?
yeah, and they're like 9 years apart. One, the oldest one just turned 18, so he's been, with the help of his mom and everything, but he's pretty much been doing it himself, man. I've been proud of him, man. Like any time I could chip in, babysit,
Right.
where his oldest now, I got her babysit my little man when I need to. You know what I'm saying? Like Uncle Jeff, can I get some money? But you reach out to your fellow homeboys when you see them like that. You know what I'm saying?
No question.
A lot of us, we don't help our own brothers out.
Right.
We don't. We just see them struggle. Like, why would you want if that's your true friend and your true brother, why would you let them go through a struggle if you can help them out, especially if they're trying to do right?
Right.
So it's definitely overlooked.
Right.
And even myself, as I'm a parent 365 days a year, even though my son don't physically live with me, but he stay with me like 3-4 times out of the week.
Right.
And I still probably would get overlooked. You know what I'm
Of
saying?
course.
Like, because they only look at the fathers that's not in, their kid's life. But I'm that parent that's always there. And like he said, I'm at football practice. My son 5. Spring football practice.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
That's what's up. That's all right.
I mean, it's just black people in general, man. Like, we just don't help out each other, man. We always look at the negative. What get the most likes and the most views on social media? Black people fighting.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I could see
Black
that.
people fighting. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely something we need to check ourselves and look in the mirror.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
You're absolutely right.
I agree with that.
And the world just looking at us like, look at them over there. They acting like animals. And they glorify it, and I hate watching that. I hate seeing those fights, and I'm just like, gosh, y'all look really stupid out here,
One thing that
we
we
gotta
can't
stop
do.
too.
Yeah.
We have
You
to
read my
stop.
mind. One thing that we can't do is take that on though. What's really easy to do, and I think probably I can only say for myself, the DC Snipers was the first time when watching television, you see a crime and you say, "Oh man, I hope it ain't black people." We do it. We do it all the time now. But I think the first time, at least for me, where that was a very common thought process was during the DC Snipers, because we all thought them was white boys. We all thought them was white boys.
I know I
did.
did. I know I
And
did.
if anybody black didn't think that they was white boys, you either not being honest or you grew up with white boys.
Well, even white
I
people
mean,
thought it was
I mean,
white people.
I mean, everybody
Even white
did.
people was shocked.
So,
Right.
but here's the deal, though. Here's the other thing that I've learned. Of course, it's. Hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. The other thing that we do in that moment, though, is we take on other folks' stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can't take on Joe's stuff.
Right.
I can't take on Mr. 3375 stuff. I can't represent the entire black race
Right.
because I happen to be a black man.
Right.
Nobody else has that burden. So we're not going to be the ones to have that burden.
Right.
And I think, like I said, that was the first time that I can honestly say, man, I hope it's not somebody black. Everything that happened after that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Nobody else puts that on themselves. And we need to do better.
I could give you a case in point. One day I was standing in line at the grocery store, and I was getting ready to meet one of my friends, and my kid's mom had called me and was like, yo, emergency came up, can you watch it? And I had her on speakerphone,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? And
Right.
I was like, yeah, I come pick Jay up, I just changed my plans, whatever. And so I made a phone call. I was like, look, something came up. I got to get my son. I'll meet you a little later. The girl behind me, being nosy, she was like, you must been in the doghouse. That's why you're going to get your son. Really? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, nah, it's my son. He's first.
That's great.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it just didn't make any sense. It just ain't make any sense, man.
I think it's a level of thinking, man. It's a level of thinking. It's like if your mindset is on certain things about me, a child, no matter what, I'm gonna drop everything I gotta do for my child. I will even do anything for other people's kids.
Right.
I've watched other people's kids for that matter. I mean, like when someone was going through something, I'd be like, rather than you go through, you don't gotta tell me nothing.
Right.
You don't have to explain yourself. Nothing. This young lady, your kids are fine here.
Right.
Go do what you got to do.
Right.
When you're ready to come back, come pick them up.
Right.
And that's good. And that's what we're supposed to do as a community.
As a community,
That's
yes.
what we're supposed to do
Village.
as a community. Don't ask. Make that happen. That's what's missing.
That's right.
I think just to tie it in real quick too, is that this is one of the reasons I think a lot of that is getting phased out. A lot is because they're taking away a lot of things that we normally would have. Let me say it this way. There was a time where you could listen to the radio and you could hear singing groups that were singing love songs.
Yeah.
Okay? You can't tell me that these people just stopped making records.
Right.
No.
They
Those
silenced
people,
it.
they're not around anymore. You can't even find an all-male singing group anymore singing love songs. You
Unless
can't find
they-
an
unless they
all-female
white-
singing
unless
group.
they
Yeah.
white and
See,
pop.
You can't, you understand? The Patti LaBelle's, the Luther Vandrosses and
gone.
stuff like that, you tell me their albums don't sell?
You touching on something.
They still sell. But here's the issue. Instead
on
of us
something.
listening to that music so we get into a different mindset and remember what it is to love a woman. You understand? We're not going to think about that. We're going to be thinking about dabbing.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? What's the next thing?
You touching on something, right?
That's right.
And
like
here's
that
how
ratchet
personal
music,
here's how
just to
personal this
say.
is, right?
what
We
the Amigos
all
got.
we all in here in our 30s and 40s, right? I remember when I was coming up. You touching on something? We had New Edition that gave us Boys to Men. Before New Edition, we had the Jacksons. Depending on how old you
How
are,
old you go back to
you,
now?
you can go back to the Jacksons, and then you go to New Edition, and then Boys to Men, and then in the 90s there was a boom of them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
My daughter at 13 years old is listening to, and I almost feel bad saying this because music is supposed to be universal, but for the purposes of the discussion that we're having, she listening to white music. For the purposes of discussion that we're having, because don't get it messed up. I love David Bowie and Madonna and Cyndi
Yes.
Lauper
I love
and all of that
all
kind
of
of stuff.
them.
But
Okay.
but the point that I'm getting at, is you have a certain pride when you celebrate people that look like you.
Yeah.
I got into it with one of my white female friends. She's a white female conservative. And I set it up that way because I need you guys to understand where I'm going with the story. But I had a post of Jesus. And I ain't no Christian person, but I know what Jesus is supposed to look like. He ain't supposed to look like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He ain't
Caesar
supposed to look like
Borgia.
Caesar Borgia. Jesus is supposed to look like Saddam Hussein. Real talk.
They
Jesus
said
looks
hair
like
like wool.
Jesus
That was
looks
the
like
key point.
Jesus looks like Saddam Hussein.
You're right.
So when I got into it with this person, she says to me, "What difference does it make what he looks like? Is Jesus, you should receive the message." And I said, "Your privilege allows you to say that to me."
That's right.
Your privilege allows you to say that to me, and I don't mean that to take a shot. And I always preface it by saying I don't mean this to take a shot, because white folk get sensitive,
Yeah, they're sensitive.
when you start talking about race and racial
Yeah.
discussions and stuff. And I'm like, I'm used to that. I've been
Right.
called the N-word to my face by a white person,
Right.
so I'm used to that.
Right.
I said, so Jesus looks like you. He looks like your brother. So of course you don't see no
problem.
issue with it, even though the book that you read from tell you that that's not what he looks like.
Right.
So when I give you the actual image, why are we having this conversation? It's a matter of pride. That's the reason why, Because if you are praying to a deity that looks like your oppressor, your mind is in chains.
That's
Right.
That's right.
If you're praying to a deity that looks like you feel empowered.
If you're
Yes.
learning from a deity that looks other than yourself, you're going to have a problem.
Yeah, I don't think this is where you wanted it to go, Diva. So
Yeah, we way off topic.
let's
we
try
off
to-
target,
let's
but
try
I
to-
like you, so I
let's-
didn't
let's-
stop it.
Let's
You know
try
what I'm
to
saying?
let's try to recalibrate.
Yeah, let's-
shout out to one of my favorite people and one of our longtime listeners. I see you in there, Michelle K.
Hey, Michelle.
I see you in there, sis, and I didn't get a chance to shout you out earlier. Love you more, because you listen to us every week, and so we love you a little bit more each week. And you know how step on Marcus J live from the Dana Legacy and the Radio and Diva Diaries segment, led by my little sister, Dayton Poole Diva. Diva, what's the next topic?
All right, so we're transitioning to another topic, and it's a difficult one to answer, but I want you guys to think about it. What is most important in a romantic relationship? Is it A, loyalty, B, communication, C, money, D, passion, or E, some other thing? And I want you to explain. So who wants to chime in first? Is it you, Jeff?
We got to pick one.
Yeah, you got to pick one and rank them if you can.
What are the choices again?
The choices are loyalty, communication, money, passion, and some other thing. Want me to pass the mic?
Yeah,
Do-do-do-do-do.
I got a thing with loyalty and communication. Like that's like on the top of the list. But I don't think one is over the other with those two. That's just my opinion.
Okay. So they're both important. But
Yeah.
which would you pick if you had to pick one?
Loyalty.
Loyalty is
Yeah,
important.
man.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
All right. Shayna?
Well, I love this list because it sounds like a Capricorn wrote it. That would be me. I think all of them on the same level. Like if I had
Loyalty,
to-
passion.
Yeah, you need all that.
What's the other one? Loyalty, passion.
Loyalty, communication, money, passion, and or some other thing.
Okay.
Fill in the blank.
Well, I think they're all on the same level. We need all of that, to be honest. But being the Capricorn that I am, I'm very money driven. Have like 5 jobs and bank accounts and all that. I would say money, but that's just me being who I am naturally.
Right. Okay. All right. Joe, what you think?
I think that every last one of them are essential.
Mm-hmm.
However, if I had to pick one,
Right.
I personally would pick communication.
Okay.
And the reason being is that if we have communication, we actually can work on all the rest.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Without no communication, I don't think it's a way for us to work on any of the rest of the topics.
That's a good point of view. Yeah, I hadn't thought of it that way. Okay.
Yeah.
Marcus?
I'm probably going to go with passion. And I think we misconstrue what passion means. I think oftentimes when we say the word passion, we think about, intimacy and things of that sort. No, passion means I'm into this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to be here. You know what I mean? And I'm showing you with the fire in my eyes. I give you an example. I guess my level of ratchet TV is Empire. I like Empire. Yes. And there was a scene, and I'm about to spoil it, so if you didn't watch last week, then you're going to be mad at me. But there was a scene last week where Cookie got really upset, and she took a baseball bat, and she did what people do with baseball bats who are not playing baseball.
Right.
She tore up some stuff. And one of those knocks went on the side of Lucius's head. And when she realized, after she kind of calmed down a little bit and she realized that she had hurt him, you can see the look in her eyes. She's still furious, but then she had compassion for what she had just done to the man that she loved. He realized how cold-blooded he was that led her to that point, and they had this moment. And the look in their eyes when they were looking at each other was pure passion. Through everything they go through, they're one of my favorite couples on television, by the way, because through everything they go through at the end of it all, they still love each other, and ain't nobody coming in between them because they family.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's through. You know, he's married to somebody else, but his cookie is his cookie. You know what I mean? It reminds me of like the love that Rocky and Adrian have with each other.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter what the situation is. Rocky loves Adrian.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm talking about. That's why passion to me is unmatched.
Right.
Because you can't, like, communication, I understand where you coming from, brother. But for me, that position would be passion. Because if you ain't got passion, why would you want to communicate?
Right.
Or why would you want any of the other stuff? You got to want to be there. There's no worse feeling than feeling deadness.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So.
That's a good point of view. You know, now I'm kind of lost on which one I pick, because initially I said loyalty, but Joe has a point with communication. You have to be able to talk about what's going on in order to work out the money, in order to work out, you know, everything else. So I agree with him. And then you said what you said about passion. Why else would you want to be there if you're not passionate about it? To want to be loyal, to want to do the money thing together, to want to communicate. So I agree with you too. I don't know which one I would pick, but all of those are important. We all agree that they're all important. Foundation for a real solid relationship. You have to have those key components. Is there something else that's missing? What should be E? Anybody want to chime in? What should be E? Remember, that was other.
Oh, I thought you said, what should we eat? I'm like,
No,
girl,
I'm hungry too, but we're not talking about the food right now.
sorry.
E,
Well,
what should be the other? Is there something missing?
Sex.
Okay. Okay.
You gotta have good sex.
Good sex?
Because
good sex
see,
is
I'm gonna tell you
important.
something about good sex, right? Good sex. If the sex is not good, then your small problems become big problems. You know what I'm saying? Like things that you can overcome simply when you're sexually satisfied become very big deals when you're not. And the crazy part about it is it's not even always physical because of the chemicals that are released in your brain when you're having good sex. And it's not just good sex once in a while. It's good sex regularly.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if there's a situation where one person is fulfilled and the other one isn't, there's going to be an imbalance.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's when your communication has to be important because your passion ain't going to, you can't do nothing with passion in that moment.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's why what you said is so profound, because if you're not having good sex regularly, then you sleepwalking.
Right.
I agree.
You sleepwalking.
Well, I guess I've been sleepwalking for the past year and some change.
I guess you are. You know, I guess you are. But the thing is, but the thing is, you know, good sex is, you know, it's not just, you know, rubbing one out, smashing somebody. I said that to be crass.
It's deeper.
To make the point. Like, we talking about, like, you gotta love somebody. Like love them. Like love them.
Yeah.
For what I'm saying to apply.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not just, you know, not just, you know, somebody that you call every once. No. You love them, you know, through the whole Cookie and Lucius thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because does anybody think that they don't have great sex when they do, regardless of what they should, whether they should be or not? Then obviously they're fictional characters, but I'm just saying, you can look at them and see. So I think for me, that's what would be
The E.
the E, I suppose, yeah.
Okay. And anyone else?
Pick somebody.
I think that's it. Oh, Jeff, I'm gonna put you on the spot. What do you think? Is there something else missing?
I was gonna say sex. So.
You was gonna say sex? Okay. Shayna? What they said? Okay. Joe, what they said?
Hit it on the head.
Okay.
That
All
definitely
right.
is crucial.
Yeah.
I would probably say empathy or understanding. That's very important. That would be my E. You got to understand where the other person is coming from, and that's why communication is so important too.
Right.
Okay, let's move on. All right, I stole a question from a site, Romantic Sarcasm on Facebook, and the question was like in a meme type of thing. Says, what would you do when you have one woman or man that has your heart and the other one has your back? Okay, so it's a situation where you have to choose between one or the other. Who would you choose? Would you choose the person that has your heart or the person that got your back? Anybody want to chime in on that question?
I would choose the person who has my heart. Because
Okay.
ultimately, the person who has my heart will die for me.
Oh, wow. That's really Romeo and
I
Juliet.
gotta agree with Shane on that one, because the one that has your heart's probably gonna have your back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I got your back and it's great, and it's probably, you know, and she's snapping on the way out the door. It's like, hi, Glory. Someone else herself. But I'm sorry, Facebook Live know what just happened, but the radio folks like, what the hell are you talking about? But the one that has your heart probably has your back.
Right.
You know, and you go through whatever challenges you go through, but if they have your heart and you have their heart, then I mean, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no matter what. You know, I mean, I could say I got your back.
All right.
You know, but it doesn't mean, like, having your back, there has to be some sort of connection to
Right.
that. And just, I could say I got your back, man. I got you. You know what I'm saying? But then when stuff gets thick and thin, then what?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And when it comes to a romantic relationship,
I'm also-
anyone can have your back.
Yeah,
right?
but I mean, I'm also a very, based on the answers that I've given you tonight, I'm a very emotional man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, probably more than most, where, you know, I'm driven by things different than, it's just my opinion from talking to brothers, other men, and then talking to women about the men they've dealt with. I'm personally just driven by different things. You know what I'm saying? I guess the way I view it is probably a little bit more feminine than most guys. You know what I'm saying? With me, I'm driven by passion. That's what drives me. You know, whereas some other dudes might be driven by the bottom line. You know what I mean? How much does she bring to the household? Does she cook for me? You know what I mean? Like black and white type stuff. You know what I mean? I'm driven by when I see her, do I get that feeling?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay,
But
Jeff?
with that being said, though, that person have to make sure if that's your heart, make sure that you that person's heart, because sometimes it doesn't work out that way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if that's the case, if both of y'all have each other's hearts, that's what I'll go with. If not, something wrong with that picture.
Right.
You need to sit back and think about a couple of things, because a person might have your back, but you know, if you don't have your heart, like,
What's
it's
the
nothing.
point? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's nothing.
Yeah,
Having
that's a
your back-
friend. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
basically.
a friend. Yeah, friend zone.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Joe, you had something to
No.
add? We said it all. Okay. We're done. Are you done or finished?
Oh man, that joke was funny as hell, yo, for real. No, you know what I mean? That's funny. That's funny.
All right. Well, I'm going to wrap up here. I appreciate you guys for participating in the Diva Diaries, and I'll be back the next fourth Monday.
You got it. Ain't no half step with Marcus J live from the den. Legacy Internet Radio. Take our final break of the night. Come back, rant, and close. You're listening to the flagship show of Legacy Internet Radio from Mr. 3375, Dating Pool Diva, our sister Shayna Latia, and our brother Joe Bailey. I'm your host, Marcus J. Ain't no half stepping with me. Be back in a few, y'all. Stay with us.